Welcome to Onslow County today and Happy New Year. Welcome to 2017. Today we are going to be talking with a wonderful array of guests. Lisa Ryder with Keep Onslow Beautiful, Rick Perry with Onslow County Park and Recreation, Jennifer Montefort with Onslow County Animal Services, and we'll talk with Kim McNally and Katie Bullock with the Onslow County Health Department. Thanks as always for joining us for Onslow County today. Welcome back to Onslow County today, and joining us are two of our favorite friends, Lisa Ryder with Onslow County Solid Waste and Keep Onslow Beautiful, and Rick Perry with Onslow County Park and Recreation. Thank you both. This is not always something we get to do. We have a partnership that we're going to talk about, and this is the 2017 Trail Sweep. Lisa, why don't you kick it off and tell us a little bit about what's going on?
Well, with Keep Onslow Beautiful, we've focused on waterway and beach cleanups for the last several years. So we want to expand our efforts in cleaning and start with some other natural areas. So we're going to focus this year, starting the year off with some trails and our nature trails here in Onslow County.
Now, Rick, a lot of these are centered around your trails at our different parks. We're going to kick things off at Stump Sound, then in February at Oakhurst, and then in March you're going to Steed Park, and then in April at Deppy Park. Rick, give us a little bit of an idea about how those parks, kind of the personality, because I've hiked in all of those parks, you know, with my family, and they're just beautiful, but share with our viewers what they're like.
Absolutely. Several of our parks would have a nature trail and an exercise trail. And then Oakhurst, which was mentioned as well as for cleanup, is a nature trail, but also features a kayak access launch onto Blue Creek, which is a unique feature for it. And we're certainly proud of the sponsors of the partnership and the good work they'll be doing in helping Parks and Recreation maintain our trails.
Now, Lisa, you and I have had numerous conversations about the fact that having a happy, healthy environment is not just an aesthetic. It's environmentally certainly being sound, but also it's economic and it's quality of life. Talk a little bit about why it's important for you to get into our county parks and do this.
Well, I think it's important because it's a public space. It's a public space that we all share on a regular basis and that we're all welcome to share on a regular basis. And these parks are open for free for us to enjoy. And so making sure that they're clean for everyone to enjoy is very important. So we're going to be focusing on things like cigarette butts that someone may have not known that it's not proper to discard of, things like plastic water bottles and things like that that could be on these trails. And we have noticed a little bit of an increase in some of our natural areas with these things, mainly because, like we've mentioned before, they don't biodegrade. So plastics, they're in the environment forever. So even though they may have been tossed out 2 years ago, they're still there. So it's important for us to collect these materials and make sure they find their proper place.
Rick, when Lisa proposed this idea, I can't imagine that you said, no, we don't want to do that. Tell a little bit about the enthusiasm that your team, because again, your staff sees it every day. They do the best they can, but it's nice to have somebody else come in and support your efforts.
Absolutely. We so much appreciate it. It's really the staff is shorthanded quite often trying to get everything done. And sometimes the smaller things may get overlooked. But you talk about things that are environmentally that we try to be conscious of. Oakhurst, for instance, you might find fishing line that's been discarded, which can obviously be dangerous to turtles and wildlife. So any kind of sweep that goes on that can help us take care of things that may have been overlooked. And we know when you have high water or flood events, you're going to have debris that washes up, even along roadsides or into park entranceways and things that need to be taken care of on a regular basis.
So this is able to jump in and give your folks a hand. And Lisa, it's also a great time for the public to get involved with something literally in their own backyard. How can folks participate?
Right, thank you for mentioning that, because that is our key initiative with Keep Onslow Beautiful, is to engage the public to take greater responsibility for improving our environment. And so this is a great opportunity for schools to get involved. Students that want SAT credit hours can certainly come and get those hours there. But also anybody, you know, friends, neighbors, family are welcome to come out and join the effort, and I think they'll find it very beneficial.
So do they need to register with you ahead of time so that they know, or do they show up on the mornings of the cleanups? How would that work best?
Either will work fine. We definitely do not want to discourage anyone if that morning they decide, hey, I want to go volunteer, but I didn't get a chance to register. That's just fine. They can show up, and we will have these dates listed on our website. They will continue the second Saturday of each month, January until May, and we have a different location, a different trail for each of those months, with sort of a different theme too. You know, as Rick mentioned, each of these sites have a unique aspect to them. So we want people, you know, even though you volunteered the previous month, you'll see something different in the next month.
You know, they all are really distinctive in their ecosystems that they offer, and just the beauty of the sites. And you're also partnering with one of our state sites as well. Tell us a little bit about what you're doing in May.
Yes, so we will, our last month of doing this, we're partnering with Hammock Beach State Park, and so we're working with them on trying to figure out the best area to clean that up. But they also have a trail as well on the beach, which is a unique opportunity for folks. And they can, of course, take the ferry over and join us in that cleanup. And there's several unique opportunities for folks there. But that'll be our last month, and we'll be updating folks on more information there. And also the first month, so in January, this month, we will be having 2 cleanups. So one will be at the Steed Park in Sneads Ferry, and that one's going to start at 10 a.m. But we have one also going on in Holly Ridge.
Okay.
That's going to be at the end of Morris Landing Road, and that's in partnership with the North Carolina Coastal Federation and the National Estuary and Research Reserve, and we'll be doing a cleanup on Bermuda Island.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah. So folks can bring their paddle boards or their kayaks or their canoes, and they can paddle over to Bermuda Island. We'll be providing the supplies, or they can do a shoreline cleanup there. That one starts at 9 a.m. So you can even do both cleanups if you'd like. You can start and do a little bit of a cleanup there, and then come on over to Sneads Ferry and do a cleanup, or choose which one you'd like.
I don't think a lot of folks are even familiar with Bermuda Island, but it really was a groundbreaking location for ecosystem preservation and archaeological preservation. So it's a really important site within our state. And talk a little bit about the Morris Landing site, because I am intrigued, because there they do the planting of the oyster beds for cleanup. Talk a little bit about that site if you can.
Sure. So yes, it's a North Carolina Coastal Federation site, and they do lots of different things there to preserve our environment. And I welcome anybody to go and check out their website, and they can see all of the great things they're doing there, including oyster bed restoration. And oyster bed restoration is super important for our environment here and our water. You know, that a lot of folks don't know how important oysters are to our water, but they're filter feeders, so they filter our water and keep it clean.
Well, it's a great way to experience the county at all of these different sites. Lisa, one last thing, if we're going to go out, any special equipment we need, any way you want us to bring gloves? What do you need us to do?
We will provide the cleanup equipment, so gloves and bags and that sort of thing, but we do ask that folks take a look at the site and prepare in terms of closed-toed shoes and anything that you would normally take on a nature hike.
Okay. Now, Rick, one last thing. You're doing these, each Saturday in the month, but I'm sure that you would want to remind your park visitors and patrons that a cleanup just doesn't have to take place on the second Saturday of every month. What do you recommend for your visitors who are going there to run or walk or just take their kids out for a great day?
I think a great motto for us is Boy Scouts came in some time ago and put up some signs that said leave no trace. So if folks will keep that in mind and try to do that, whether it's picking up after your pet, especially where we do provide the bags and the pet waste stations, we'd certainly appreciate that. And if you see a piece of trash, occasionally pick that up and help us out with it, that'd be great. Keep the park cleaner for everyone.
Well, this is a great way to kick off the year. Get outside, get some fresh air, and make a difference in your community. Lisa, best telephone number for folks to reach you if they want to know more about the site?
The best phone number is 910-937-1442.
All right. Well, we're going to take a quick break. Rick, you're going to come back and talk with us about winter sports. And Lisa, thank you for helping us, as always, to keep Onslow beautiful.
Thank you so much.
Well, we're back with Rick Perry from Onslow County Park and Rec. Rick, we're glad that you stayed with us a little bit, because you have got a lot going on this winter. And the first thing we want to talk about certainly is youth sports. You've got your kids all registered for it, but folks can come out and watch some future Michael Jordans Larry Birds, I'm so old, maybe LeBron James. Who can they come out and check out?
That's right. Our youth basketball and cheerleading seasons are ongoing at various middle school sites here in the county. We generally have about 800 or so kids out there playing basketball and 200 in cheerleading. So it's a large number of participants every year and a big program for us and a good partnership with Onslow County Schools to make facilities available. Very enjoyable, but games are on Saturdays and encourage folks to come out and watch maybe some of the future stars you mentioned and just come out and support the programs at various middle school sites. Usually games run on Saturdays from 9 a.m. to as late as 7 or 8 o'clock in the night at some of the sites.
And I know that we joke about, even the future Steph Currys, how about that, out there. But youth sports is far more than creating future stars and celebrities. It's about health and sportsmanship, isn't it?
That's right. Building hopefully lifelong interest in maintaining physical fitness. Lots of time, for most of us, sports probably in team sports at age 17 or 18 if we played at a high school level. But if you can build an interest, especially if someone that goes on to have an interest in sports, tennis, golf, whatever the case may be, if we can build that interest to go forward to maintain physical fitness and teamwork, ideas of teamwork, sportsmanship, all the good that hopefully comes out of participating in sports programs.
Now, the other thing you've got going on, talking about basketball, is you have a church league for basketball. Talk to us a little bit about that.
We do have a program where the adults can get involved. It's a church-based league, but we have a number of churches who have participated annually in the program, usually anywhere from 7 to 12 teams or so, who will register and play generally at Southwest Middle School. Usually Monday, Thursday nights, that's sort of a setup, but we're taking team registration for that through January 20th.
Okay. Now, the other thing is we all, every year we hope for a white Christmas. Every year here in Onslow County, we think maybe just a little bit of snow, and we don't always get it. So you're helping us have a little bit of a winter celebration. Tell us about your Winter Fest, because it sounds like a lot of fun.
We are. This year it'll be on Saturday, January 14th, which is the Martin Luther King weekend. Mm-hmm. And we call it Snow Fest, and we'll have there's a group that comes in out of Raleigh who will provide the snow, and we'll set up on our soccer field out in front of Onslow Pines Park from 1 to 5 p.m. that day, and the company will provide the sleds, if you will, give folks an opportunity to sled. It's a nominal fee of $5. You can come and sled during that period of time. We'll also have some vendors on site and have it like a typical festival style event, but really featured on the opportunity to do for what you don't always have a chance to do here in the South, which is get out and play in the snow.
Get out and play in the snow. And nobody I know has a sled, use a trash can lid when I was a kid, because we didn't need them, did we? And you guys are going to provide those.
That's right. When we have that rare snow event, I know if you're like me, most folks are trying to find something that'll slide down the driveway.
Exactly. So winter, you've got Snow Fest and basketball and winter sports, and then also in those times that the kids are out of school in January for the Dr. Martin Luther King holiday and for teacher work days, you've partnered with our local Artist and Crafters Guild to provide them a very special event. Talk to us about that.
We do. We've got it up and running the last few years in partnership with the group, and it's really an all-day event. It helps parents who may have to work, but also really for the kids to have an opportunity to participate in an art-based event.
Right.
Sometimes Parks and Recreations are heavy on sports side, but we want to do a lot with arts and reach everyone, whatever the interest may be. And this is a great opportunity for hands-on artwork, and oftentimes they get to work on projects and items they may even get to keep.
Oh, excellent. And also, that the winter doldrums get their creative juices flowing.
That's right.
And last but not least, Rick, one thing that we always love to talk with you about is senior games that you partner with the council, our senior services program. And this is a great way, whether you are an artist or a ping pong player, there is something for everybody.
Absolutely. From age 50 and above now. It used to be 55, so we're at age 50. I'm almost there myself. We'll be ready to participate. And I just encourage folks, if you've never done it, to come out. It's really about the socializing with your peer group and getting out and participating. All kinds of arts categories you can choose to enter your work in, whether it be quilting, painting, you name it. And the same thing applies to sports. You don't have to have been a prior star athlete or something, where it's really about the fun. It's everything from table tennis to basketball shooting to an event casting a rod and reel at a target, tennis, some of our normal tennis groups, and there's a very active pickleball group who plays all the time. And over at Jacksonville Commons, and we also partner with the city in providing senior games to our citizens. So it's really a good group effort, but something for everyone. If you'll come out, I guarantee they'll have fun.
And really, you need to reiterate this idea about pickleball. This was relatively new to me, and this is all the rage, isn't it?
It is. If you haven't seen it, it's played indoors, generally speaking, but you can play outdoors on downsize your normal tennis court with a lower net, kind of a combination of racquetball and tennis, smaller version. You've got a paddle, similar to a tennis racket, but it's a little shorter, and then hitting a kind of a harder wiffle style ball over the net. But it's a very fast moving sport that's taken off nationally.
All right, so senior games, kids' art days, basketball, snowfest. That's a lot of information. If our viewers would like to know more, Rick, what's the best telephone number for them to reach you?
It's our area code's 910-347-5332 at the Onslow County Parks and Rec Department, and whoever is on the other line should be able to help you.
Okay, and of course you've got Facebook presence, and of course also your Onslow County website.
That's correct.
Rick, is there anything else you'd share with our viewers as they get ready to kind of beat the winter blues? What do they need to do?
I know folks' mind will quickly already be on, hey, when is spring sports and baseball registration, because time really flies. And we'll just look for that on our website, but we'll have registration early March for baseball, softball, and t-ball, which of course is our largest sports program.
All right, well, Rick Perry, thanks for being here, and Happy New Year.
Same to you. Thank you, Lisa.
Welcome back to Onslow County today, and we have our friend Jennifer Montefort from Onslow County Animal Services. But Jennifer, you've brought kind of a sweet friend with you today. Who is this?
This is Miss Daisy. We brought Daisy over today to show off one of our adoptable kittens.
Oh, she's beautiful. Jennifer, we want to talk about several things this time of year. This is kind of a continuation from our conversation we had back in December about dealing with our pets and our furry family members during the winter. And we really want to talk a lot more about winter pet care, because that is a real serious concern. We might not have snow, but it gets plenty cold. Talk to us about that.
Yes, we've been lucky so far. It's been relatively mild, but with the cold weather, we want to take precautions to keep our animals safe. Definitely keeping them out of the cold if possible. We want to see them inside during freezing weather, obviously. And if animals are outside, we want to make sure that they have access to proper shelter and fresh water and food.
All right. Yeah, that's one of the things I don't know that people always think about is, if it gets below 32, water bowls freeze, and so we want to make sure that they have access to those things, right?
Absolutely. So always be checking those water bowls, keeping their food intake up. So animals that are outdoors during the colder weather are going to be burning more calories. So we have to make sure that they're getting the nutrients they need. So increasing their food intake is another thing that's important.
Now, the other thing that comes to mind with the winter weather is oftentimes we might use ice melt, or we might have antifreeze in our vehicles. What about being cautious around those chemicals that we might have?
Absolutely. We want to keep those out of the way of our animals. Antifreeze is toxic to animals, but it's also sweet, so it would detract them if we leave it out. So we want to keep that put away. And then anything like salt that we would have out in case of ice, that can get impacted in their paws. So we want to check their paws and make sure that they don't have any trouble with that.
Now, the one thing that sometimes, though, despite the cold weather, is we still may have parasites, or we may still have insect infestation. So what about making sure that we don't have little creepy crawlies that have come in with our family members there?
Absolutely. So keeping our animals on flea and tick prevention throughout the year, as well as heartworm prevention, is just good care of our pets. So keeping them on the same regimen that we would throughout the spring and summer is a good thing to do.
Wintertime doesn't discriminate against fleas.
No.
Unfortunately. Now, we're talking here about Daisy and how sweet she is and the adoptable pets that you have. You all had a very successful drive recently. Share that with us.
We did. We had our second annual holiday collection. So we collected donations. We had some great business partners throughout the county who put out boxes for us, and we had so many people step up and donate to us. We collected over 1,000 pounds worth of food,
Oh my gosh.
as well as other needed items. So it was a very successful drive and helped us stock our shelves for the winter months.
That is fantastic. Now, going back to adoptables, one of the things that we know you have are so many cats and kittens, and they're all just as cute as Daisy. Talk to us about the process of adopting one of these sweet family members, one of these forever family members.
So we make it very easy to adopt at the shelter. All you have to do is come in, take a look at all of our animals, and we let you spend time with all the different available animals. We want to make sure it's a right fit for you. But if you come in and you find the pet that's right for you, we do the adoption that day, and you get to bring your new furry family member home.
All right. And finally, we also know that here in Onslow County, the idea of feral cats and kittens is a real issue, and reminding all of our pet owners that being a responsible pet owner also means spaying and neutering. Share that with us.
Absolutely. Spaying and neutering is something we definitely encourage. All animals that are adopted through the shelter are spayed and neutered, so that's very important to us. But those of us who have animals at home, making sure that they are spayed and neutered as well, and that just keeps our pet population down in the county.
And as we're closing out our segment, were there some other things that you could share with us, about the winter months, is about our furry family members, or even those, especially cats who might be feral? Sometimes we see those that they create, they kind of just show up. I had somebody just share with me not long ago that it was just so friendly, and there it was on their doorstep. Talk to us about
that. Yes, feral cats can come out in the winter times looking for a warm place to stay. Definitely be careful when getting into your car. They can hide in your wheel wells as well as under the hood. They're looking for a warm place to stay. So definitely, Miss Daisy is very, very happy to be here. Just be cautious about those cats that are looking for somewhere warm to stay.
Okay, and of course, direct us to your telephone number and your terrific Facebook presence that you all have, and your website, if you will, please.
We do. We have a great Facebook page with all of our information. We have adoptable animals on there, as well as any events coming up. And that's Onslow County Animal Services is our Facebook page.
Okay.
And then anyone wanting any additional information can always call us at 910-455-0182.
Well, thank you, and thank you to Daisy, and congratulations again on that great winter drive. And we'll all keep in mind this great advice you've given us about great pet care in the wintertime. We appreciate it, Jennifer.
Thank you.
Welcome back to Onslow County today, and we have some new folks joining us from the Onslow County Health Department. We are so glad you're here. We have Kim McNally, and we also have Katie Bullock. Kim, what is your position with the Onslow County Health Department?
I am a public health nurse working in communicable diseases.
Okay, and Katie?
And I am the WIC director.
All right. Well, we're going to talk about two very different topics, but I think it's great to have you both here because it really does represent the range of services that are provided by the Onslow County Health Department. So Kim, we're going to start with you because we're going to talk about something that folks may see kind of on television in passing, commercials for medications, and sometimes even conversations about celebrities, and that is hepatitis C. And share with us about what is Hep C. We see, those ads pop up, but without a real description about what it is.
Hepatitis C is actually a virus that affects the liver.
Okay.
So it is a virus that can cause some damage to the liver. It can cause liver cancer and cirrhosis.
Okay. Now, when we think about it, I think we also don't have a real clear understanding of how people may contract it or how it may make its presence known really in the body. So how is Hep C spread?
Okay. Hep C is usually spread through blood-to-blood transmission. So there are certain people that are at higher risk for coming into contact with hepatitis C, and the health department is really concerned with focusing in and getting those people screened. So people that may have had a blood transfusion prior to 1992
Okay.
are at risk because that was prior to when we could screen the blood for hepatitis C. We are also concerned with people born between the years of 1945 and 1965, also
Okay.
known as baby boomers.
Right.
We like to call them baby boomers. And that's because those people may have been exposed to trace amounts of blood on medical equipment before sterilization and hygiene techniques were as good as they are today.
Okay.
And the last population that we're concerned with is people that may use needles to inject drugs. Either they used to use drugs and now they're sober, or they're currently using, because the virus can be transmitted through sharing needles.
Okay, so it's a really, again, a broad spectrum of people who may be exposed, at risk for exposure, or who have been exposed to Hep C. If we're looking at Hep C, it also has itself kind of two different kinds of presentations. Talk to us a little bit about the differences in Hep C and how we see it react in different people.
Okay. So there are actually two different diseases associated with hepatitis
Okay.
C, and that's acute hepatitis C and chronic hepatitis C.
All right.
So when the virus enters somebody's body, sometimes the body can actually fight off the virus in the first 6 months, and that's known as acute hepatitis C disease.
Okay.
But in most people, over 70% of people, the body is not able to fully fight off the hepatitis C virus, and then that's what we call chronic hepatitis C.
Okay.
When it lasts a little bit longer and it just kind of resides in the body.
All right. And what sort of things do you see? I mean, what sort of symptoms do you see?
So with acute hepatitis C, you may see some very mild symptoms. You may see fever, you may feel fatigued. Sometimes there'll be a yellowing of the skin, which is known as jaundice. But that is actually rare. Most people that have hepatitis C don't have any symptoms at all.
Okay.
And then you can have chronic hepatitis C for a really, really long time and not know it until there's pretty significant damage to the liver. And so you might not see symptoms that you have chronic hepatitis C until you have advanced liver disease.
Okay. Now, Onslow County Health Department is taking a very proactive approach in screening our area citizens for hepatitis C. Talk to us and share with us, one, why that's so important, and two, what does the screening look like?
Okay, so at the Onslow County Health Department, we are really interested in getting people in to get screened for hepatitis C, and the reason is because there aren't many symptoms, so you may not know that you have it. And there is treatment available for those that test positive, so we encourage everybody to come in and get screened that thinks that they may be at risk, or talk to your friends if they are someone born between those years, or
Right.
someone who's using drugs. We want to injectable drugs. We want to get them screened because there is treatment available to help cure it, prevent liver cancer, prevent cirrhosis of the liver.
Okay, you know, I think that that's also, when we think about this idea of chronic illness, that you mentioned the word that it's curable. You mentioned that there's a cure. Is there a window, or is this something that, in terms of treatment, are there other treatments that go along with medication that you look at and that you advise your patients about?
Well, with the treatment for hepatitis C, it is prescribed by a doctor. So what would happen is if you came into the Onslow County Health Department and you had a positive screening, and a screening is a blood test. It's a simple blood test. You come in, you will talk to one of our communicable disease nurses, and we will send you down to our lab. They'll draw just a little bit of blood from your arm, send that off to the state lab to analyze. And if it does come back positive, then we can talk about a referral to a physician who can prescribe an oral medication that you can take to help you with your positive test result.
Okay, so you all conduct the screening and then assist with the referral for the next step in the treatment plan.
Yes.
How about making arrangements for that screening? Is there a walk-in clinic? Do we call in? What's the best way to make arrangements to come in and have that screening conducted?
We encourage people to go ahead and call and make an appointment if they can. Our number is 910-347-2154.
Okay.
And so we say, call us, talk to one of our communicable disease nurses, and we can set you up with an appointment to make sure it's timely in and out.
Okay.
But if you do want to just stop by and ask questions, or stop by, and see if we have time to get your blood drawn at that time, that's fine too.
Okay, and this is, as you mentioned earlier, something that that we are here in Onslow County particularly concerned with because of opioid use as well, and drugs that are needle injected. Talk a little bit about, again, your efforts to reach out to the community to ensure that people know that you have the service available.
Okay, so yes, we are very concerned with the increase in opioid abuse and injection drug use, because that is one of the most common ways that people contract the hepatitis C virus. So we are offering free testing for certain groups that are at risk. So those baby boomer ages, testing is free. Anybody that did use needles to inject drugs or is currently using, the testing for them is also free.
Okay.
Anybody that received blood products before 1992, testing is free. Testing for anybody else is pretty reasonable, so we encourage anybody that is curious or wants to know more or thinks that they may be at risk to call us and talk to us about it.
And again, it's about being proactive and being aware of our just individual personal health.
Yes.
All right. Well, Katie, thank you. Kim, I beg your pardon. I'm looking at Katie. Kim, thank you so much. As we kind of shift gears, we want to talk to Katie about the WIC program. And Katie, again, tell us again your role is as WIC director. And what does that mean for our community to have a WIC director?
I think just in general, just having somebody that finds the health of the community important, and just we want to bring as many people into WIC as possible to try to get the nutrition education out there that would benefit the community as a whole. So.
And for folks who aren't familiar with WIC, that's an acronym for what?
It actually stands for Women, Infants, and Children.
Okay. And tell us about Onslow County's WIC program.
Okay, so Onslow County's WIC program actually, a lot of people look at it as a check distribution program, but actually it's actually a very extensive nutrition education program. So we have a lot of nutrition experts on staff, and they educate pregnant women, breastfeeding women, infants, and children up to the age of 5. So.
Okay, and that's exactly what I was going to ask you is eligibility. How can we let people know about it and that they're eligible to participate? Who is an eligible WIC participant?
An eligible WIC participant would be somebody that's at any kind of nutritional risk, if they're pregnant, if they have had a child within the past 6 months, if they're breastfeeding, infants and children, again, up to the age of 5. But of course, there's also income requirements that have to be met also.
Okay.
So if they fall within 185% of certain requirements for poverty levels and things like that, they qualify. But there's also multiple other things that are looked at too aside from that. So there's a lot of different ways that people can be eligible for WIC.
And you know, the value in that is as we think about poor nutrition, malnutrition, obesity. There's so many, a number of things that we look at, different kinds of vitamin deficiencies. WIC is much more than, as you said, just a check. It's about information and education.
It's really just a huge nutrition education program, and it's great because it starts, kids out at the right age to have a good nutrition foundation for life. So.
And making those right choices.
The little changes, even something as simple as simple drink choices or something like that.
So if we're not necessarily always picking, what is it? We drink our calories. We drink our calories by consuming lots and lots of sugary drinks and juices.
And so just doing a lot of education on that end, and even WIC also provides nutritious foods. So yes, they get food vouchers, but there are specific foods that they have to choose from. So.
And so you provide them that guidance as well. So the food vouchers are just one aspect of it, but it's knowing how to read labels. Is that part of it?
We do label reading. We do, really I could go on and on for days. We do label reading, really just overall education for kids, portion control, that's another big piece of it. Really even infant feeding, formula preparation, it goes on and on, the list goes on. So we do really education on everything. So.
And just that knowledge, that foundation, is setting not just that child up for a healthy life, but in their future so that they'll become healthy adults.
And also to try to prevent, chronic diseases, diabetes, heart disease, and then also even sometimes for the mothers, a lot of times they end up changing their eating habits as well because they get the education through their children.
So they set that example. And really, Katie, we are seeing and have seen increases not just in childhood obesity, but also a surprising increase in like type 2 diabetes.
We've seen
in
a
children.
huge increase in type 2 diabetes for children, which is another reason why WIC is such an important program to help educate the parents and the kids, because at that age too, children are very receptive to education and information, so it's a great age to target them and try to help them build, again, a good foundation for nutrition for life. So
I recently saw an interesting program about taking children into the grocery store and really explaining to them, and making it more of an experience, not just that food is something that we consume, but that this whole experience of the vibrancy of colors and the smells. Is that something you talk with your parents about?
We do. We talk about, trying to make sure that their diet is kind of think of the color of the rainbow. So like for fruits and vegetables, making sure that they're getting a variety of different colors, and also having the children be involved, in the grocery shopping, and maybe let them pick out a fruit or a vegetable in the produce section to make them feel like they're involved in the process too, and use it as an educational tool. So,
Food insecurity is something that we hear more and more about in our community. And this is one of those steps toward filling that gap in the food insecurity problem that we have in our county. And we have one of the youngest populations and one of the largest populations of just your target audience in the country. How do you reach those folks? How do you let them know how WIC is available to them?
We do a lot of marketing. We do a lot of outreaches. We actually have 2 different WIC sites in Onslow County. We have one at the health department, and we also have one on Camp Legeune's Taro Terrace site. And so we do a lot of coordination on base with the family readiness officers there. We do a lot of marketing through farmers markets and different things like that. So there's a lot of different avenues that we take to try to market, WIC, and bring people in and just let them know that we're out there to help them.
So it's about partnerships too. Do you work with the area child care centers at all, or is the information available to them there? Or
it is.
Okay.
We do. We actually are in the process right now of creating some new brochures and things like that to try to, make people more aware of the WIC program. And we also work with the Onslow County Partnership for Children.
Oh, excellent.
And they're a great resource for us. So
That's outstanding. Well, again, we want to make sure that folks know how to reach you. And can you give us your best contact information?
yes, I would say the best phone number for us would be 910-347-5002.
Okay. Now, we do need to let our viewers know that you folks are located at the Health Department on College Street. You got a little bit of something going on over there in a major construction project. So can you give us some best directions for maybe parking if we want to access your site? I know that we're there on College and you've got Warlick Street there. What would be your best instructions for us so we can make it convenient?
I would say, I know for WIC, probably turning down College Street and going in front of where there's actually the new building that's being built right now, and then turning left onto Warlick Street, and then there's a little entrance right there to where you can get into the WIC clinic.
So off of Warlick there. And are there any particular hours, Katie, for the WIC clinic?
Actually, yes, I'm glad that you asked that. We actually have late clinic hours on Thursdays from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. And then throughout the rest of the week, we're open from 8 to 5. So.
Okay. So 8 to 5, and then Thursdays is your late clinic, and that's until what time?
From 8 a.m. to 8 p.m.
All right.
To try to accommodate, those family members that may have some barriers getting there during, regular work hours or anything else. So.
Well, I thank you both for joining us, and really, again, our Onslow County Health Department has an incredible array of services for the health and well-being of our population here in Onslow County. And I thank you both for your part in making us a much healthier community. Thank you both.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you as always for joining us for Onslow County today, and a special thank you to each of our guests who brought us some terrific information. And speaking of information, we are very pleased to announce that Onslow County is launching this month our brand new website. Be on the lookout to find out more about your Onslow County today and every day.